Hi, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your May 2023 new moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out more than you guys will ever know, especially since I had to take that break to take care of ill family members. So, thank you so much for liking, for commenting, for subscribing, and getting me back on that YouTube algorithm, which I have appeared to fall off of. So, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they are all listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. This cleanse and meditation will be accompanied by a loud sound. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. We have the Prince of Wands reversed. Now, this is a very good energy to be mindful of, Gemini. It's fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but it's also a rashness and a brashness, a sense of not thinking things through, of pushing forward, of being rather careless. Now, we could have that energy in our lives, a person who very much embodies this. And this could be saying this person can be giving us a bit of difficulty, making us question things. This can also be us. We can be a little bit brash, a little bit rash, a little bit, kind of like devil may care type of attitude. Like we're not thinking about consequences. So just remember during this time, if we're surrounded by that energy or we're embodying that energy ourselves, we need to kind of step away or, step back into ourselves and calm ourselves down and connect. I highly recommend Spring Forest Qigong, my new obsession, which is just beyond the realms of wonderful. A free link is in the description box below just for you guys to be able to look at. They're free online. But here, there is this real sense of chaos kind of driving things forward and also of ego driving things forward. It's like, well, I need to prove this to XYZ. I need to be better than XYZ, type of deal. And it's like, why? Why? What are we fighting against? But also, what are we running from? Because if it's our own shadow, we're never going to get there. We're never going to be at a place where we outrun it. So just be aware of this during this time. Our our spirit energy is angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, is clarity. Now, this is clarity reversed, which means that spirit is telling us that things aren't as clear as we would like them to be. And that just needs to be recognized during this time. It's like, okay, it's not as clear. It's not as open as I would like it to be. How do I move forward for me? How do I get this to be clear? Or how do I step back and look at things? That's going to be one of the main focuses during this time. Now, this all makes perfect sense because we have a lot of high powered energy flying around. I mean, this is the millionaire making, time period, like millionaire making moon, because we do have the aspect of Jupiter squared Pluto, which is known as, the millionaire builder. And that is a huge power that's coming into play during this new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees 25 of Taurus, which is all about stability. It's all about growth. It's all about building our wealth and our power. So we're going to just kind of lean right into that energy where we become intensely driven, okay? Jupiter squared Pluto makes us intensely driven to get ahead, success and power and, influence become really driving words in our lives and real focus that moves us forward. So be aware of this during this time. But as it can make, millionaires, right? It can also create crippling debt. So we need to be worried, not worried, but we need to be mindful of the extremes during this time. So let's see what the cards have to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Okay. So it's very interesting here is that we can have a bit of difficulty. Ooh, you can't see that. Let me just move back my camera just a little bit for you all. Hopefully that is better. Okay. So here we're having a bit of difficulty embracing our own magic. What we desire, what we want, the magician reversed is saying a lot of the gifts that we were born with, where we're not utilizing. So that's just a warning. That's just something to be mindful of. It's nothing negative. Spirit can tend to be a little bit blunt. And, that's just something here to be aware of, that standing before the altar of our existence, we can be having a bit of difficulty calling on our power and calling on what we desire. So during this time where it's all about success, where it's all about, moving forward, because we also have more Mars squared Jupiter, which helps us to really start new projects. It helps us to take risks for long-term success, but it can also really be driven by the ego, by the sense of I'm going to succeed no matter what and let everything else burn around me if I don't succeed. Like, if I don't get what I want type of deal. And what's very interesting is we're very much walking out of that energy basis during this time and we're stepping into something a lot more powerful for us. We've been on the defensive a lot, which has made us rather reactionary. So that's why we're told to be mindful of that energy, of that reactionary energy. Here with the Seven of Wands reverse, this is standing guard. And this is saying, I always have to be vigilant. I always have to be on guard. I always have to be, alert and aware. And that's exhausting. That is really, really, really powerfully exhausting. So this is a time where we're going to be looking at things and saying, I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I don't need to be, on guard all the time. I don't need to be hyper vigilant. If we are in very negative situations for ourselves, we're saying, Dane, you don't understand. This person is abusive, or this is, scary or threatening. Then this is also the time where we start to see our way out. We start to ask for help. We start to, kind of say, I can't do this anymore. Okay. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Right. I have hotlines linked in the description box below if you need them. But really, seriously, this is a time where we're done fighting. This isn't in a pessimistic give up type of way. It is in my energy is so drained. I am so depleted. I cannot be keeping this up anymore. And that's a very real thing. And it's a very powerful thing. And we have such powerful energy around us. And what's really interesting is with Mars squared Jupiter, the warning is choose your fights carefully. And that's what we're doing right here, right now. We're choosing our fights carefully. Now, 5 planets are in Taurus, and this moon is in Taurus. This is Jupiter, this is Mercury, this is Uranus, the moon, the sun, and even the North Lunar Node, which of course isn't a planet, but the North Lunar Node is considered the head of the dragon. It guides us. So the North Lunar Node, kind of looks and sees and understands. The South Lunar Node is like the rudder of a ship. It propels us one way or the other. But during this time, we're going to become much more aware of things. Our way of speaking is going to be much more grounded in the present. If you're a Gemini, like I am, right? If you're a Gemini with my moon is in Taurus, that Taurus aspect is just going to come out so strong. So if your moon is in Taurus, your rising is in Taurus, wherever, or if you have Taurus energy in your chart, that's going to come out very strongly and be influenced even more by Mercury, which is the ruling planet of Gemini being in Taurus. Excuse me, I have really bad allergies. So there's going to be the sense of, okay, I'm grounded and I'm looking at what I desire. I'm looking at what I want. I'm looking at what I need to manifest for me. Now, with the 3 of Wands reverse, we can really feel almost with this part of May. We're going into Gemini time period here, but we can feel like certain doors are closing. There isn't this opened, flow of information, things coming in, things going out like there used to be, which can make us rather discouraged. But what Spirit is really telling us is that things have slowed down for a reason. What do you want to build? Let's look at, the building, the manifesting, because Taurus is a magnificent manifestor. So just be aware of this, that if we can, embrace our Gemini energy of being able to say what we want and thinking and communicating and use it with Taurus practicality, my goodness, can we be unstoppable? But we can also start to see that we're saying things that we thought, oh no, I can't possibly say that. I can't possibly do that, type of deal. So with the Eight of Pentacles, our hard work, our dedication is paying off. With doors kind of closing, or a sense of things not flowing, or us being, that's it. It's us being as distracted as easily because I have to have my attention here and here and here. Things are going to be much more centered. It's going to be this task here, this task here, this task here. And that's kind of going to be how we need to do it. I know it goes against the Gemini kind of fluttering on the wind like a butterfly type of deal. And I always love that. What is it? It's in The Last Unicorn, is it not? Which is one of my favorite books. And it's butterflies flying on the wind. They gather poems and melodies and, through the breeze. And that's kind of how I always think of a Gemini. But this is a time where we gather our information and we store it within us. And we're not as flitzy as a butterfly. Like, we're not as flitzy as people like to think we are. We can utilize that. And when we have a mature Gemini, we have somebody with an exquisite array of words, language, ability to communicate, an ability to embrace the heart and the mind coming together. But with this Taurus energy, it's grounding it. And it's really breathing life, compassion, beauty, power into our work and into kind of the fiddly things that others can overlook. We like the fiddly things. It's not that we are going to sit there and kind of, obsess about the grammar of it all, or, the be really, really super fiddly about things. But we want to make the point across, and we know how important that is. If it's through imagery, if it's through words, we're going to find that things that people will say, oh, well, they'll get it. We're like, no, we want to make sure they get it. We want to make sure it's brought forward. And I really see that with the Eight of Pentacles here at this time. It's like, how do I craft this? How do I move this forward? So you're going to be more focused on your work because of this energy that's here, yes, but also because we have Uranus, which is the planet of brilliant new ideas, of innovation, of organization, of originality. This is really opening up a door to us. It's at the midpoint between Mercury and the new moon. And this is inspiring us to bring wonderful new ideas, to build a powerful and, purposeful future for ourselves. We might be taking on new roles, or we might be looking at things differently. And it doesn't matter our age. It doesn't matter if we're 18 or 86, or 88. It's just a sense of like, I'm opening up that door. I'm opening up this power and this brilliance and this present to me. And then here, we don't have to tell anybody, which is so not a Gemini thing to do. We love to talk out our ideas and our passions and our instincts. But this can be a time where we are a little bit apprehensive of bringing our power to the table, right? Of standing before the altar of our existence. We can be questioning our own magic because it's such an innate part of us that we don't see it as anything magical. So just be aware of this, that things that we think, oh, well, everybody can do this, it's not necessarily the case. So being aware of that can be quite empowering as we figure out how to really embrace our own royalty, right? Our own divine presence within ourselves, within the world, within what we desire for our lives and from our lives. And then it brings us to the Nine of Pentacles. We're standing in the present. And that's going to be a really powerful thing that we can do now, Gemini, is that we stand in the present, and we're present. We're not in the past. We're not in the future. We're right here, right now. And that's embracing a power for us and with us. And that's going to be opening up a door. Okay, mind your money. I'm not saying this in a kind of like fear-mongering way, okay? But mind your money. Know what you're doing. This is a time where you can find yourself before being a little bit more frivolous, and now you're going to be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I need to put money into savings, or I need to, not be looking at like certain YouTubes or Instagrams or whatever that say, oh, I can just spend the money. It's okay. This is an investment. It's like, no, I'd rather have that in the bank, or I'd rather have this going to things that really need to be done instead of, things that it's like treat yourself type of deal. So this is going to be a time where, yes, you have a lot of hard work ahead of you. Here, her harvest has come in, right? The crops have borne fruit, right? But one of the main things back in the time before machinery, and why machinery was so important to agriculture, is that you had to get all the wheat bundled, right? And done before there was a heavy rain. It had to be done by hand. Communities would come together. Machinery made it so that you weren't gambling. Can I get everything done in time to actually have my harvest turn into profits? This is a time where we're right here, right now, in the moment of it all bared fruit. The seeds that I have planted bore fruit. And this is a time because the new moon is all about setting our intentions because there's this burst of energy and emotional balance that comes with the new moon. And this is a time with the Taurus new moon for planting seeds, to seeing what we desire, to seeing how we move forward for us. Now it brings us into the energy of the moon. So let's see what the moon has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Ooh. It's very funny. We're being quite hard on ourselves here, Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. So what's really cool here is that you have faith in your dreams, right? We have faith in our dreams. And we are really embracing the pleasure of our energy coming forward and saying, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is how I need the energy to flow in my life. And this is how I need to move forward to claim what I desire. So we know how to be the magician that stands before the altar of our existence, saying, this is what I want. As above, so below. As I believe it, so it becomes. What the moon is telling me here, because I forgot as above, so below, right? In the initial reading, is that our minds are being kind of negative to ourselves. We're being really harsh on ourselves. And that's why I said that earlier. We have faith in our dreams. And we have to believe in our dreams. We have to believe in ourselves. It's going to be so powerful. It moves us into a time where we're not making the adjustments to embrace the darkness. What is the darkness? Is it emptiness? Is it nothingness? Sure. But it's the expanse of the universe. And it's the fact that the universe is within us. Right? It's not just poetry or fancy that we are made of stardust. We are made of stardust. And so here, when we look at the darkness, we can look and see the expanse of ourselves moving forward in a world where, nothing is granted. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, no matter how much insight we have. The universe has ways of moving and flowing that just take us by surprise, that can take our breath away in a good way or in a bad way, And so here, we're being told adjustments are required. We're being told, we have to go with the waves and not just say, no, that's my course. I want to go in that straight line, or I know where I want to be. Spirit's saying, let me guide you. Let me guide you. And it's going to take us making adjustments. It's going to take us releasing a lot of that fight energy that we have in us, where it's like, I've been misunderstood. I have had to work so hard. We're in a Mercury retrograde, right? We're coming out of the post-shadow period, or we're in the post-shadow period, and it'll be over soon enough. But there's an intensity to it that makes us really doubt, am I going to be understood? Am I going to be able to get to where I want to be? And so we start to become overwhelmed. And when a Gemini becomes overwhelmed, we can just kind of shut down, like anybody can, but we stop becoming curious. We stop, wanting to communicate. We stop a lot of the things that are so important to keep us riding the winds and gathering the information and being that bit of whimsy, but also that bit of knowledge in the world that I think is so needed. It moves us to the fact that nothing is yet set in stone, but we have that turned around because there is the sense of like, but it is set in stone. It is going to be like this. And then we're doubting our own abundance because the doors have closed. Like, are you kidding me? I can be abundant and I failed here, and this isn't working out, and that isn't working out. And now I'm overwhelmed. Here it's an acknowledgement that we have to stop thinking it's all settled, no matter our age. We have a tendency to think, oh my gosh, it's always going to be this way. But if we wait a little bit, it will change. It will change. So being able to see ourselves as abundant individuals is so terribly important. It's time to release negativity. It is. We have to be patient with the work that we're doing, but we can be very harsh on ourselves. And there's almost going to be this reaction, but Dane, if I'm not harsh on me, everybody else is going to be so much harsher on me, so much more critical. And it's like, yeah, people love to criticize. those who can do, and those who can't criticize everybody else. So stop. Stop. It is time to release negativity. We feel it. We don't want to. We're like, listen, that anger is serving me well. Yes, anger can propel us. Anger is a very good tool, but it can also eat us up inside. So here, we need to have patience, and we're not really having any. We want it all done. We'll work the 18 million hours. We'll get it done. We'll just be exhausted and not enjoy any of it. There's a need to enjoy the presence that is coming. The presence that we are in, and the present that is coming to us. Okay? There's a need to stand in the power. It moves us to, again, have faith in your dreams. Have faith in what you're growing and what you're developing. Pleasure. Take pleasure out of it. It's not just following or, being obsessive about earthly pleasures. It's sitting here and really saying, life is pleasurable. The conversations that I have, even the moments that aren't pleasurable, even the moments where you're sitting there and you're like, you have a headache, you don't feel good, but you're here. And there's power in that. We tend to take things for granted, especially when, we're usually very healthy or everything's going well or everything has been going well. And then setbacks seem so much more intense. Here, have faith in your dreams. Don't give up on them. Don't walk away from them. And take pleasure from going after what you desire and finding that magic and standing for the altar of your existence. Because yes, people are more than willing to point out your flaws. You don't need to help them. You don't. Actually, some of the most astounding things that I see people do is that there are people, and yeah, they can be wrong, they can be right, but they have this confidence in themselves that makes you confident in them. Even if you can sit there later on when you're thinking about it by yourself and you're like, oh, well, that wasn't true, or that wasn't right, or that's not actually how I feel about it, but that's how they feel about it. But if you exert that confidence in yourself, that's attractive. Okay? That's attractive on a, relationship level, but that's attractive on a personal level. There's so much uncertainty in the world. And yes, there are fools who are confident. I totally get that. But why should the people who are compassionate and kind and loving and trying to do the best in this world not be confident in themselves? Why? Because we're aware of all the questions you can ask. Okay. Be aware of all the questions, but also follow you. It's not being arrogant or egotistical. It's just saying, I deserve to be here. Yes, I deserve to take up space. I deserve to be present because I'm a gift, as egotistical as that might sound. But every human being on this earth, with the exceptions of some, right, who are just awful, they're gifts. I'm talking about serial killers and things like that. People are gifts, whether they grow you in a way that is kind and loving and nurturing, right? Or they grow you in a way because you're like, well, I never want to be like that. It's still a gift to your existence. It moves us to meditate and contemplate, which we don't want to do. We're not really patient during this time. We want everything to be right on the surface. We don't really want to take the time to meditate, to contemplate, to do the exercises that will actually make us feel fantastic. So be aware of this, that because we don't want to meditate, because we don't want to do this, we're going to have to. We're going to have to way more because we're kind of averse to this. And wisdom, we're not feeling very wise. Geminis, we collect questions like little children. Why? We never grow out the why stage. Is that bad? I don't think so. I think questions are amazing. So here, we don't feel wise. Why? Because we're always asking questions, because we have that Mercury powering us, that way of communicating, but also that way of absorbing information. Now, it can mean that we don't listen. That's fine. We work on that as we evolve and as we grow. But here, just because you have a whole bunch of questions does not mean that you also don't have a whole bunch of wisdom. It moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. This is the Five of Cups. Change your mind and change your life. We're kind of adverse to this right now, not because we don't want to change our mind, but because we can find it really hard to look at certain things that are hurtful, hateful, upsetting in our lives and say, I see you, I recognize you, but I'm not ruled by you. Because it's kind of like, well, how can I change this if I don't pay attention to it? We need to pay attention to it, but not be fixated on it. It's kind of like when there's a leak in pipes and you see like the whole road built up. people aren't sitting there and saying, oh my gosh, there's just this one little leak here. I can only fix this little part. They pull up the whole road, they take out the whole pipe, they replace everything, and then they move forward. It's like, okay, I can change that. We can tear up all that is spilt and hurtful that is seeped into us by saying, I turn around and I see the Two of Cups that stand, the healing, beautiful love that is connecting me, that is guiding me, that is moving me towards balance of myself. The Minor Arcana Lovers card, the Two of Cups, for me, it's the Minor Arcana Lovers card. And that's such a powerful connection. It moves us to our subconscious spirit message. And this is nature. Taurus energy is all about nature, embracing our nature, embracing nature, earth sign energy. We need to ground ourselves in the nature that we have, that we were born with, but also in nature, finding the beauty in the smaller things, the quiet things. It moves us, in the little things. I was washing the dishes today and a moth flew to the window. And it was one of those fuzzy, big, like it was like as big as my thumb. I was like, wow. And usually I would just go, oh, what an ugly moth. Like it was gray and tan. But I saw it today and I was like, that is absolutely beautiful. That moth is gorgeous. So it's looking at things, not saying it's not a butterfly, right? It's not super colorful. It's a moth, but it still has its intrinsic beauty. Our nature, as Gemini, it's kind of like a magpie, almost. It's to see the beauty in things and try to express it. So let's see if we can do that. We need more people like that. It moves us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the King of Swords. This is us. This is the highest court card in the swords, right? The king. And we are represented by the swords in the Minor Arcana. We're cutting through doubts and fears and negativities, hurts and pains and disappointments. We have here the raven on the head. We have the two ravens flying. This could be Hunin and Munin, right? In Norse mythology, this is Celtic mythology here. So this would be the Morgan. The Morgan, we always see this as a bad sign, but it was also the sign of transformation. Transformation of the mind, transformation of thoughts, power moving forward, knowing harsh endings have come and have gone and will come again, cutting through doubts and fears and negativity. The swords are the only weapon in the tarot, and they're the only real tool. Swords were held by nobility. You could be killed if you held a sword as a peasant. You look at those pictures in medieval times, right? And the peasants are uprising and they have pitchforks. And I always thought, oh, okay, well, that was just what was on hand. No, you would be killed if you had a proper weapon. Here, this is having a proper weapon, putting you at an advantage. Clarity of mind and the ability to speak with that clarity is a powerful weapon and advantage that puts you above most people. This is speaking our mind. This is saying what we want to ourselves as well as to others, but first and foremost to ourselves. And then it's knowing, okay, you don't just pick up a sword and are a brilliant, genius at it. You practice, you fail, you stumble, you get back up again. And that's part of the life of an air sign energy, is that you will fail, and especially around things that you really, really want. There will be failure, there'll be heartbreak, there'll be pain, and then there'll be success. It moves us to our subconscious Luna message, which is assessing. We're not really looking at the bigger picture, okay? Because we're looking at, the insular. Doors have been closed. We're kind of frustrated with that, right? And it says, your commitment is being tested. Yeah, we're not assessing the bigger picture. And our commitment to what we want and what we desire is being tested. Are we going to give up? Or are we going to say, you know what, there's more than one way to skin a cat, which I know is a gross saying, but it is an old one for a reason. It's grossness, and also the fact that there are different ways to do things. Here, your commitment is being tested. What do you want? What is being illuminated by going inward, by no illumination outwardly from the moon, but the sense of there is quiet, and now there's time to think. What is coming forward in our thoughts? All right, Gemini. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this time and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini. May blessings and prosperity always be with you. I love you all. God bless. Have a brilliant moon. Bye.